My name is Avery Sinclair, and I'm 26 years old. 3 months ago, my parents threw me out of their house for dropping out of law school. My father screamed, "Get out and stay out," like I'd committed a crime. They called me a failure, a disappointment, a waste of their investment. What they didn't know was that I'd already made $15 million from a tech startup I'd been building in secret for 2 years. The next morning, I moved into my Malibu mansion with an ocean view. 3 weeks later, when my parents discovered the truth, they showed up at my gate, begging to be let in. I watched them through the security camera and didn't open the gate. Before I tell you how my parents went from disowning me to desperately trying to get back into my life, I need you to do something. If you've ever been called a failure by people who had no idea what you were actually accomplishing, hit that subscribe button right now. Drop a comment with where you're watching from and the moment someone underestimated you completely. Your stories fuel me. Now let me take you back to where this all started. I grew up in a family where success had a very specific definition. My father, Charles, was a corporate attorney. My mother, Linda, was a federal judge. My older brother, Preston, was a surgeon. Success meant prestigious degrees, important titles, six-figure salaries earned through traditional paths. I was supposed to follow the script. Top grades, Ivy League college, law school, partnership at a major firm. That was the plan my parents had drawn up before I was old enough to have opinions. And for a long time I followed it. Perfect GPA in high school. Yale for undergrad. Columbia Law School, where I was supposed to become the next great legal mind in the Sinclair family. But I hated it. Hated every second of law school. The endless reading, the Socratic method, the competitive atmosphere where everyone was trying to outperform everyone else. It felt like drowning in ambition that wasn't mine. What I loved was coding. I'd been teaching myself programming since I was 14. Built my first app at 16. Spent my free time in college creating software solutions for problems I noticed around campus. By my second year of law school, I had an idea. A real idea. A platform that would revolutionize how small businesses manage their inventory and supply chains. Something intuitive, affordable, scalable. I started building it in secret. Late nights after studying. Weekends when I was supposed to be preparing for exams. I called it Streamline. I didn't tell my parents. They would have seen it as a distraction from my real future. My father had made it clear many times that computer stuff was a hobby, not a career path for a Sinclair. By the end of my second year, Streamline had a working prototype. I showed it to a few small business owners I knew. They loved it. Within 3 months, I had 50 paying customers. By the time I started my third year of law school, I had 500 customers and was making more money monthly than most associates at my father's firm. That's when I realized I had to make a choice. Keep pretending to want a legal career, or pursue what I was actually good at and passionate about. I tried to talk to my parents about it. Carefully. Testing the waters. "Dad, I've been thinking about taking a semester off from law school." He looked up from his dinner like I'd suggested robbing a bank. "Absolutely not. You're in your final year. You don't quit when you're this close to finishing." "But I'm not sure law is the right path for me." "Avery, you don't get to be not sure after we've invested hundreds of thousands of dollars in your education. You finish law school, you pass the bar, you start your career. That's not negotiable." My mother nodded in agreement. "Sweetheart, everyone has doubts. But you push through them. That's what successful people do." I tried again a month later. I've been working on a business project. A tech platform. "It's actually making money." "How much money?" my father interrupted. "A month right now, but it's growing." He laughed. Actually laughed. $40,000? "Avery, first-year associates at decent firms make more than that annually. This tech hobby is not a career. It's a distraction. But it has potential. Real potential. I think if I focused on it full-time." "You're not dropping out of law school for some app," my mother said firmly. "That's not how this family operates. We finish what we start. We pursue serious careers." "Tech is a serious career, for some people," my father said, "not for you. You're a Sinclair. We're lawyers and doctors and professionals. We're not Silicon Valley kids gambling on startups." The conversation ended there. But Streamline kept growing. By January of my third year, I had 2,000 customers. By March, I had investors interested. A venture capital firm approached me about acquisition. They offered me $12 million for full acquisition of the platform and my services as a consultant for 3 years. $12 million. I was 25 years old and someone wanted to pay me $12 million for something I'd built in my spare time while pretending to care about contract law. I took the meeting without telling my parents. Listened to the offer. Asked for 2 days to think about it. That night, I ran the numbers. With the acquisition money and smart investment, I'd be set for life. Could pursue any career I wanted. Any passion project. Live comfortably, without ever worrying about money again. Or I could finish law school, pass the bar, and start at an associate position making $130,000 a year, while working 80-hour weeks at a job I hated. The choice was obvious. I called the VC firm back and accepted the offer. We signed paperwork. Money transferred. Just like that, I was worth $12 million. Then I went home and told my parents I was dropping out of law school. The explosion was immediate. "You're what?" My father's voice could have shattered glass. "I'm withdrawing from Columbia. I've made the decision." "You don't get to make this decision. Not after everything we've invested in you. Dad, I appreciate everything you've done, but I'm 25 years old. This is my life. Your life that we paid for. Your undergraduate degree, your law school tuition, your apartment. We invested in your future, and I'm grateful. But I don't want to be a lawyer." My mother stood up, her judge face on, cold, authoritative. "Avery, you're being incredibly foolish. You're throwing away a guaranteed successful career for what? Some fantasy about being a tech entrepreneur. It's not a fantasy. I've already what? Made a few $1,000s on some app. That's not a career. That's luck. And luck runs out." I almost told them about the acquisition right then. Almost explained that I had $12 million sitting in my bank account. That I'd already succeeded beyond what they thought possible. But something stopped me. Maybe pride. Maybe spite. Maybe just exhaustion from years of not being heard. "I'm withdrawing from school," I said calmly. "I've already submitted the paperwork." My father's face turned red. "Then you're cut off. Completely. No more tuition payments, no more rent assistance, no more family money. If you're going to make stupid decisions, you do it on your own." "Fine, Daddy. Fine." He was shouting now. "You think you can make it on your own? With no degree, no career, no support? You'll be back here in 6 months begging for help." "I won't." "Yes, you will. Because that's what happens to people who quit. They fail. And then they have to crawl back and admit they were wrong. I'm not going to fail, Dad. Get out." He pointed at the door. "If you're going to throw your life away, do it somewhere else. Get out, and stay out." My mother didn't argue with him. Just stood there with her arms crossed, disappointed and cold. "You're making the biggest mistake of your life," she said. "Don't come crying to us when it all falls apart." I left that night. Packed my things from my apartment, which they'd been paying for. Drove away from that life without looking back. The next morning, I closed on a house in Malibu. 4 bedrooms, floor-to-ceiling windows, private beach access. Ocean views that made my chest tight every time I looked at them. I paid cash. $13 million, leaving me with plenty to invest and live on comfortably. I moved in with a bottle of champagne and a sense of freedom I'd never felt before. My parents thought I was crashing on a friend's couch somewhere, probably panicking about my uncertain future. They had no idea I was watching the sunset from my infinity pool overlooking the Pacific. I didn't contact them. Didn't tell them where I was. Let them think whatever they wanted. 3 weeks later, the story broke. Streamly Nike acquisition. Young entrepreneur sells platform for $12, and the article featured my photo, an interview about building the business while in law school, my plans for the future. It was picked up by TechCrunch, Forbes, and eventually the Wall Street Journal. My phone exploded with messages from old classmates, former professors, business contacts. Everyone congratulating me, amazed by the success story. And then came the message from my brother Preston. "Avery, what the hell? Did you really sell a company for $12 million? Mom and Dad are freaking out." I didn't respond immediately. Let them freak out. Later that day, my father called. I let it go to voicemail. "Avery, it's Dad. It's Dad. We saw the article." We need to talk. There's obviously been some misunderstanding about your situation. Call me back. Misunderstanding. That's what he called throwing me out and disowning me. My mother called next. Her message was shorter. Avery, this is your mother. We'd like to see you. Please come by the house this weekend. Not an apology. Just a summons, like I was expected to show up now that they knew I was successful. I ignored both of them. 2 days later, my father showed up at my Malibu house. How he got my address, I don't know. Probably hired someone to track me down. He pulled up to my gate in his Mercedes. I watched him on the security camera, pressing the intercom button. Avery, I know you're in there. We need to talk. I didn't answer. Avery, this is ridiculous. I'm your father. Open the gate. Still didn't answer. He tried for 15 minutes. Pressing the button, calling my phone, shouting at the camera. Finally, he left. My mother came the next day. Same routine. Pressing the intercom, demanding to be let in, acting like she had a right to my time and space. I watched her through the camera and felt nothing but exhaustion. On the third day, they came together. Both of them standing at my gate, looking up at the security camera. This time, I answered the intercom. What do you want? Avery, sweetheart, please let us in. We need to talk to you. We already talked. You told me to get out and stay out. I'm following your instructions. We were angry, my father said. But we're family. We should discuss this like adults. There's nothing to discuss. You made your position very clear. I was a disappointment and a failure who was throwing my life away. You wanted me out. I'm out. We didn't know what? That I was successful? So if I had failed, it would have been okay to disown me, but because I succeeded, now you want back in? Silence on the other end. Avery, please, my mother said. We made a mistake. We should have listened to you. We should have trusted your judgment. You should have loved me regardless of my career choices. But you didn't. You made your love conditional on me following your script. That's not fair, isn't it? You cut me off the second I deviated from your plan. You didn't ask about my business, didn't want to hear about what I built. You just decided I was wrong and threw me out. We're sorry, my father said. And he actually sounded like he meant it. We're genuinely sorry. We were wrong about your business, wrong about your potential, wrong about what you were capable of. You were wrong about a lot more than that. You were wrong about what makes a life successful. About what matters. About who I am as a person. Now, Jinda. Then help us understand, my mother said. Let us in. Let us see what you've built. Let us be part of your life again. I looked at them through the camera. My parents, standing at my gate, begging to be let into a life they'd been so certain would fail. No, Avery, you don't get to come back just because I succeeded. You don't get to be proud of me now after making it clear you were ashamed of me then. That's not how this works. We're your parents, my father said, as if that explained everything. Parents who threw me out for making my own choices. Parents who valued prestige over my happiness. Parents who couldn't love me unless I was doing exactly what you wanted. That's not true. Yes, it is. And until you can actually acknowledge that, until you can admit that you failed me, not the other way around, we have nothing to talk about. I turned off the intercom. They stood there for another 10 minutes. Then they left. The messages continued. My father sent emails. Long ones explaining how proud he was, how he'd always believed in me, how he just wanted to be part of my success. All lies. Comfortable lies he told himself to avoid confronting his own behavior. My mother sent shorter messages. About family, about forgiveness, about moving forward. Never once actually apologizing for the specific things she'd said and done. Preston called me. Avery, come on. They're your parents. They made a mistake. Can't you just let it go? Did they apologize to you for what they said about me? For disowning me? Well, no, but have they acknowledged that they were wrong? Not about my business success, but about how they treated me. They're trying. No, they're not. They're trying to get access to my success. That's not the same thing. He sighed. You're being stubborn? I'm being consistent. They set the terms. They said I was out. Now I'm holding them to it. For how long? For however long it takes for them to actually understand what they did wrong. 6 months have passed since that day. At the gate, my parents still send occasional messages. Still trying to reconnect. Still not actually apologizing. Last month, my father sent an email about a family investment opportunity. He wanted me to invest $2 million in a real estate venture he was involved in. I didn't even respond. My mother sent a birthday card. Inside, she wrote, "We miss you. We're proud of you. We hope someday you can forgive us." Missing me and being proud of me are not the same as acknowledging they were wrong. I've built a good life here. My business is thriving. Even after the acquisition, I stayed on as a consultant and started 2 more ventures. I have friends, a community, a life that feels authentic in a way my old life never did. Preston visits sometimes. We have coffee, talk about our lives. He's starting to understand why I won't reconcile with our parents. "They're never going to admit they were completely wrong," he said during his last visit. "That's not who they are, I know, which is why we probably won't have a relationship again. Does that bother you?" I thought about it. Sometimes. Not because I miss them, but because I miss the idea of what parents should be. But I'd rather have no relationship than a dishonest one. Last week, I saw my parents at a charity gala. They were there, I was there as a sponsor. They approached me cautiously. "Avery, you look wonderful," my mother said. "Thank you. We'd love to catch up. Maybe lunch sometime, maybe." We all knew I didn't mean it. My father tried a different approach. "I've been reading about your new ventures. Very impressive. You really do have a gift for this. I know. We'd love to learn more about it. If you ever want to talk, I'll let you know." They stood there awkwardly for another minute, then moved on to talk to other people. Later, I overheard my mother talking to someone else at the gala. "Yes, that's our daughter, Avery. She's done remarkably well in tech. We always knew she had that entrepreneurial spirit." I walked away before I could hear more of the revisionist history. The truth is, my parents taught me something valuable. They taught me that love with conditions isn't really love. That family who can't accept you when you're struggling don't deserve to celebrate you when you're successful. That sometimes the best thing you can do for yourself is close the gate and leave people outside. Do I wish things were different? Sometimes. Do I wish I had parents who'd supported me regardless of which career I chose? Absolutely. But I don't have those parents. I have parents who valued status over happiness, who measured worth by prestige, who threw me out the second I stopped following their script. And I'd rather have no relationship with them than pretend any of that was okay. Your success doesn't obligate you to forgive people who wanted you to fail. Your achievements don't erase others' cruelty. And you're not required to let anyone back into your life just because they've decided you're worth knowing now. If you made it this far, you know what it's like to be dismissed by people who should have believed in you. Hit that subscribe button for more stories about people who succeeded despite their families, not because of them. Drop a comment about someone who underestimated you spectacularly. Your vindication matters. Hit like if you believe love should be unconditional, not transactional. And share this with someone who needs to hear that you don't owe reconciliation to people who threw you away. Remember, the people who told you to get out don't get to decide when you let them back in. That's your choice, your boundary, your life. Until next time, this is Avery, reminding you that the best revenge isn't proving them wrong. It's building a life so good that whether they're proud of you becomes completely irrelevant.